Hi everybody, Al Bernstein here with another one of my video blogs. And for any of you that have followed my work in recent years here on the Boxing Channel or elsewhere, you know that I'm pretty much a staunch defender of the fact that boxing is not an irrelevant sport, it is not a dying sport, and it certainly isn't dead, even if it is more of a niche sport in certain countries like the United States. Now, I've used facts sometimes to buttress this argument, and I know that's really silly, and why shouldn't I take the Skip Bayless approach to this and just give opinions that are unsubstantiated? Well, I like to try and use facts. So I'll do it again and look at the next several months in the sport of boxing, and let's see if this sounds like a sport that is dying or irrelevant. We start with this weekend when Brandon Rios takes on Mike Alvarado in a rematch of what was probably one of the best fights in the last 5 or 6 years in the sport. They will do it again. They'll do it in Las Vegas in front of what is expected to be a full house. Only 1,000 tickets remain for that fight. It'll be seen on HBO where, because of all the buzz that's generated for this fight, it is anticipated it'll do a very, very big number, certainly well north of 1 million people or 1 million homes will probably watch this on HBO. Then as we move forward, we move to April 20th, where again, in 2 different parts of the world, there are fights that seem to be engendering quite a bit of interest. First of all, over in England at Wembley Arena, there will be a fight that will again pack the house. Ricky Burns taking on Miguel Vasquez, and also Nathan Cleverly defending his light heavyweight title. Now that fight will also be seen on television all through the UK and seen by millions and will fill the arena. On the same night here in the United States, Canelo Alvarez will take on Austin Trout, and they're expecting only about 30,000 people to be at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio for a fight that appears to be an excellent fight. Canelo Alvarez, to his everlasting credit, taking on the toughest man available in Austin Trout, when some suggested to him he shouldn't do that. Trout comes in off a very exciting win over Miguel Cotto, and so there's every likelihood this will be a great fight, and because the last fight in which Canelo appeared against Josecito Lopez, that did one of the highest ratings Showtime's had in many years, and there's every expectation that this one will top that number and could be one of the highest rated shows ever in the history of Showtime boxing. Then you move a week later, on April 27th, Sergio Martinez will be defending his title in Argentina, of course his native land, and I think they're expecting only 50,000 people to fill up a stadium there, and HBO, which will be televising, will get its usual strong numbers for Sergio Martinez, who, by the way, is one of the biggest draws on that network. And so that, could be thought of as an event of some consequence. And on the same night, Danny Garcia will defend his world title against Judah in the Barclays Center, where a large crowd is expected to be on hand to see Judah, a Brooklyn native, take on the very entertaining Garcia in what could be a very good fight. And Amir Khan will fight that same night over in England and will be televised here in the United States as well. And then we move to a week later when the sport gets its injection of Floyd Money Mayweather excitement. Mayweather will be back in action in the ring for the first time in a year in his pay-per-view fight against Robert the Ghost Guerrero, as Guerrero injects some new blood into the Mayweather-Pacquiao sweepstakes. And that fight, of course, has sold out the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, and we would fully expect it to do anywhere between 1.3 to 1.7 million pay-per-view buys. And, of course, it will get all the coverage that is normal for a Floyd Mayweather fight or a Manny Pacquiao fight, the 2 marquee names in the sport. Then if you want to move past that to May 25th, you can find 2 fights in the international landscape that might merit just a smidge of attention. Lucien Bute taking on Bute-Pascal, who is quite a draw in Canada, as is Bute, and they will engage in a fight at the Bell Center in Montreal that will once again fill that arena. and be seen everywhere in Canada. And any even casual sports fan in Canada will likely be tuned into that fight, and it could be one of the biggest fights in Canadian history, a country, by the way, that is having a renaissance in the sport of boxing. And on that same night, across the pond, Froch-Kessler will take on Carl Froch for the super middleweight of another version of the super middleweight title. That's at the O2 Arena. Yes, that will also fill the arena with fans, and it will be seen not only on that side of the Atlantic to millions, but also in the United States on premium cable as well. So on that same night, in two different parts of the world, we're going to see fights that matter a lot to those regions and, in fact, worldwide. So, okay, those are some facts you can play around with. And so in the months as we approach the end of March, we go into April, we go into May, we have all these major fights around the world, packing arenas and drawing millions of people who will watch on television. That's the best I can do to argue that boxing isn't dying.